Hi everyone, it's your Simmer here. So welcome to June. So I was able to fertilize and lime field 42 before the day rolled over yesterday. I could see down the road from the house, down the driveway, that we've got, it looked like I thought we had all the tomatoes. So you can see kind of the pace this is going at. So at 5 a.m. yesterday, we had 2 of these. We've got 3 now total, a little over 24 hours later in addition. So that is just another 1,500. So that gives you an idea of kind of the pace we're talking about here. So between the 3 greenhouses, maybe we're getting like 4,500 tomatoes a day. So we're talking, 10 months before we get everything we need to fulfill the order. So today for our VIPs, I am going to focus on the 2 that are down here, wheat and milk. We're going to get these 2 orders delivered, and then other than that, I think we're waiting to get everything else going. Now, once I have enough, so here I've got 5. So that means, I've got 2,500. I've only got 7,500. So normally I take 3 layers on that trailer there, which is 18,000. If I do that, I'm going to basically need 3 trailers to fulfill the order. So I try to have enough so that I can run a full order over. So we won't have that, but that is how we take our milk. So we don't have a huge need for the dairy. It's 44,000 liters of milk, so we have to take it to the average Viking cheese dairy. This is only 8,000, so this takes 8,000 liters. So we'll head on over to the cow barn. Let me figure out where we're going first. Alright, so I'm a little confused because this is the average Viking's cheese dairy, but there's nothing specifically like that on the map. So this is the first time I've had an issue with the VIP order manager confusing me, honestly. So let me get some. I mean, the good news is we have plenty of milk. So if the dairy isn't the place, I can look around. My concern is it's not like this map is super busy with things, so I just don't know what I would do. I don't really want to abort the order because then I forego the bonus for everything and it kind of defeats the purpose. So let's cross our fingers and hope that when we get there, this will give us what we need. So I was debating a little bit. I could have leased a larger tanker that does 32,000, although I think that requires a truck, and I don't have a truck at this point, so that would then require me to do that. So that's kind of why I have this. Initially I was just hauling a little bit of water. A lot of the things that I have for animals, they supply water directly, and I've redone my greenhouses to do that as well, which was initially why I had this to begin with. But I also knew that it could transport milk at some point, so it kind of had a dual purpose. If I had to make significantly more trips, if I had 100,000 or 200,000 to deliver, I might think about maybe biting the bullet and leasing equipment to move stuff, but it's not as if I'm in a rush, and I really don't have much else to do today other than move wheat, and that will go quicker because I've got larger equipment to move crops. So we'll just go ahead and we'll run 6 trailers of milk over to the dairy. But let's just hope and make sure this is where we need to go. So that is the output over here. And again, we, I think, own the dairy because I think we've had to sell some product from it to the VIPs earlier. But in any event, hopefully, when I start distributing it, it will fill the order. It's not. Interesting. So yeah, everything else is labeled appropriately, but this is not, and I'm just wondering if it's because I own it or what, but this literally is just dairy. Alright, there it is, the average Vikings cheese dairy. I had no idea this was here. I thought I had gone through the map 4 or 5 times. So, I mean, the good news is I don't need, like, 6 full trailers. So I can go ahead and get down there, but, yeah, I had no idea. Now, the good news is that's closer to my farm, too, so I think it's actually going to be a quicker trip. So that's going to make these deliveries fast, but I'm glad that worked, because certainly the way the mod is operating, to my knowledge, is it's using sell points on the map, so that is where I was very, very confused. But I'll be curious what we see there, and it maybe just is, because usually for productions, there's 2 different types of buildings, or 2 designs, basically, so maybe it's just a couple dairies, because they figured this would be a active milk producing map or something. I don't know why the map authors would have created 2 dairies here. But yeah, I think it's literally just south of 44 here in that building, and I've driven by it, certainly, because this is how we get to everything else. Ah, it's this place. Interesting. So it's literally all they make, I guess, is cheese. So there's their output. And I'm just curious if it's another dairy. I'm somewhat wondering, but there we go. That's what we want to see. So now we're in the right place. So I do apologize for running around, but as I said, I looked everywhere for this thing, and I'm like, somehow I missed that one, but I was just much more deliberately going through the map just to methodically make sure that I wasn't missing something, because clearly I was, and eventually found it. So took us to level 12 VIP orders to even know this was literally right outside our farm. So obviously I've not been having any interaction with them. I think I, for the most part, know everything else on the map by now, because we've had to interact with most of it. So I'm going to go ahead, now that I've solved that mystery, and work on getting the milk over, because it's going to take a while to do these additional runs. And, you know, when we're ready to wrap that up, I'm terrible at coming into the farm and doing this. It's just hard to get to that road. I always turn too late. But I'm going to keep working on this. I was going to go by the barn because I also haven't had to move a lot of milk, and I was heading over to the other side, which is slurry, which is very different than milk. But let me get these delivered, and I'll see you once I'm doing the last run. So I'll see you in a bit. Alright, headed out with the last loads, just a little bit over 2 hours into my morning since I woke up here. Obviously I wasted a good amount of time probably trying to look for where I had to deliver. We're over 1.7 million pounds right now on the farm, so doing quite well. But this will get the milk order completed, and then we'll go ahead and we'll be able to figure out what we need to do for our wheat, and then we'll be 2/3 of the way done with this particular level for the VIPs. cannot believe I did not know this place was here. And maybe it's because, like, from the street, there's no icon or anything, so I may have thought that this was just like a decorative building. I didn't realize that it was a sell point. But getting close. So there we go. Become green. But 1,716,000 pounds in our coffers right now. So certainly not a terrible, terrible position to be in. Obviously, if we have to eventually buy more productions or something, like, we're in good shape now to really be able to do what we need for the farm. But hopefully there just isn't much that we need to do, because if I can just keep accumulating some cash, that will help us in the future. It opens up lots of options, and I'm no longer necessarily restricted to the smallest things or the slowest process or whatever. I could, if it can be solved by money, potentially, I'm definitely kind of in that vicinity where it's like, you know, I can do something with this here. Now, I don't know right now that I need this for anything else. There's that floating deer. It happens once in a while. So I have not checked if there are any updates to the map, because sometimes updating the map, like, breaks saves and so forth, and floating animals happen once in a while. Now, I am not going to try to haul with this tractor because this is a lighter one, and I think I can move a good amount, certainly several tens of thousands of liters of wheat in my trailer, so I don't want to have a weight problem. So we'll get into my Die-Hard Massey, and that will help us. I believe the trailer I need is up here near the silo, so we'll drive up there. I haven't moved a crop in a while, but we're halfway done. Yeah, so there it is, near the silo itself, so we're in great shape there. Got our front end loader and our telehandler tucked away. We're kind of needing that less and less. Okay, so we're taking wheat to Moondogs. So Moondogs is a little ways away, but I think we're gonna need a couple runs, or 3 runs, because that I think this trailer only takes 40,000. So it is a little bit of a ways. We'll go ahead and we'll probably get there. You saw there was 104,000 that we have, so we're going to get ourselves down to less than 10,000 liters in the silo here once all is said and done, and we've given the VIPs what they need. So I've been going down to Moondogs in the past, but it's mainly been selling things on pallets. So at this point, I know they have I think a grain pit there. So obviously this is going to have to go there. And unlike the milk, I don't have a whole lot of spare flexibility here. So I'm certainly going to have to be careful. But as I think on it, there's certainly been plenty of trips that we've headed over to Moondogs in the series. So not necessarily something you need to see the whole way over, because it's going to take me a good 5 minutes to get there. And obviously that's a long time. So we go through here, we go over by the store, we then take the turn to the left and then kind of meander around, basically almost straight ahead from where I am now, and that'll get us to Moondogs. So I'm going to go ahead, move this wheat there, and once we're ready to fulfill this order, I will hop back as well so you can see what time it is and where we stand, and then we'll see what things look like. But since I got the milk done in a couple hours, I'm hoping, given that I only have to do 3 runs instead of 6, even though it's further away and more challenging to get to, I would hope that still before lunchtime I'll have done all the deliveries I can do today. But we'll see what it looks like when we're finally there. So I'll see you in a little bit. So I'm on my way here with the last load. I need another 16,000 to finish up and get the wheat taken care of. So just trying to get a good view here. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to get myself to Moondogs. I'll see you there. So traveling along here through the countryside. Got a little bit further to go. But yeah, this is the third delivery, so it's been 2 loads of 40,000. And now the 16,000 that remains. And then we'll have wheat completed. So coming up here on Moondogs. So it's just up in this area. There we go. Get turned in here. You can see the pit through the trees there. That is our delivery point. And here we go. And there we can see the countdown. And we are done. So all we've got left, sorghum and tomatoes. It's always a little bit of a challenge getting out of here. Kind of all over the place. So I'll see you back at the farm. Didn't quite get done before noon, but not bad. 12:30, but it is a little bit of a drive to get back here. So I'll see you there, and we should be able to do something else, certainly before the harvest, I would imagine. So may not do anything today, but I will figure out what's next with the tomatoes. Last thing I'm going to do at this point is get this first load of tomatoes over. So we just finally got enough pallets of tomatoes that it is a full load of what I normally take over. So Moondogs is where we're headed again with these. So we're going to be making that trip. And then at this point, since it's later in the day, I'm going to just let things proceed, because obviously we've still got another 1 1/3 or so loads of tomatoes that we're going to need. I have this thing kind of really skewed over, so you can see that one wheel on the one side's like tipped over. So I just need to be careful. But I'm going to go ahead and hold off on any kind of harvest, because there's, again, just no rush to do that, given that I've got another carton and a half, or a cart and a half, trailer and a half, really. It's more than a cart, to be able to carry 18,000 liters of greenhouse material. But rather than rush and start, just to get going as quick as we can, to kind of do the hurry up and wait game, because we're going to likely take well over another year to get, I think, what we need. So, and at some point, we'll just work with that and get it over. And maybe we'll do other things, but more than likely we'll be waiting. And then I've done that before with strawberries, where I just wait and eventually say, hey, they're ready now. You don't see any difference on the episodes because the time's just gone by. So other than keeping track of seeing how many months went by, and obviously if it's more than a year, if it ends up being like 2 years or something, I guess you wouldn't really know that happened. But in the end, the time matters less in this series than kind of anything else on it. It's just more trying to make a little bit of steady progress, and I don't have filler episodes of hey, I've got nothing to do on the farm today, let's walk around and do whatever. It's not a real-time system like the FSN series are, so we don't worry about that. But I should probably will get to 1.8 million pounds here once I sell these, but we've got a little ways to go till we get there. But I'm not real clear, I just don't recall when we started and when we switched from tomatoes. I mean, I know it was with the last version, or the last level, but I'm almost thinking level 10 was when I went ahead and was done with strawberries. But then the problem, I don't know what I hit there. I must have hit a rock because I was too close to that side. That was not good. But I had most of, I think, level 11 ready to go. Or maybe it was level 10 that I didn't, and then level 11 I was had the raisins and everything. Or level 12, I mean. It's clear I don't know and recall exactly what it was, but it's been a while, and the difference is, like strawberries, we would get 2 liters of strawberries for every liter of water, and in the cycle then that just tended to produce a little quicker. So each of the greenhouse crops are a little different, where lettuce, for example, takes more water, but that won't matter with the auto irrigation as much. So in this case, again, we're going to the center because it's pallets, so it won't take it off of it there. But now you can see the tomatoes counting down. We obviously are over 1.8 million, so doing pretty well there. Takes a little while for these pallets to unload, as you might imagine. You know, they're obviously trying to simulate a little bit of reality of how they'd be coming off the trailer over time, as opposed to simply quickly being there. Alright. And the challenge is, again, instead of being 29,000, it's 29,001, because it's acting like we didn't deliver full amounts. What we did, but then what that turns into is I tend to always need 1 additional pallet of greenhouse crop because I'm always 1, 2, 3, 4 short. I don't know that I've been shorter more than that. Now the nice thing is the tomatoes, we only need 47,000, where I think we had 70 or 80,000 strawberries that we were pulling over here. So it's highly possible, is what I'm thinking in my head, and what I haven't been sharing is I may have enough time to harvest the sorghum, and the canola may come ready, and I can harvest that, and I still won't have all the tomatoes ready. So that's going to be the challenge at this point, is once I get the sorghum done, like the tomatoes are my gating factor, and the sorghum is ready. You know, I could harvest and start delivering today, and that means I could likely get it done today. And there's just, frankly, little point in that, because by tomorrow I'm just going to have 4,500 liters of tomatoes, and that'll be basically it. And so, you know, given that I still need 29,000, you know, it's 9,000 every couple days, so you can kind of see, you know, basically we need almost 4 cycles, so we need almost 8 months to get this done, which is more than enough time for that field down there, which is ours, 42, to finally stop growing, and the canola to be harvested, but the canola isn't needed until the next level, and then a couple levels after that. So the greenhouses definitely tend to be what is the bottleneck here. I mean, one way to solve that is I could put in a lot more greenhouses. Just not sure. I mean, maybe that's something when we get back to the farm. Maybe we'll take a look at that and see, because I think I do have something else. I think I have lettuce coming up. And like I said, because the lettuce is irrigated, well, the greenhouses are irrigated automatically. It doesn't matter how much water they take, but the reality may be it's going to take more cycles to produce lettuce, because it may be staged that way, that instead of 1,500 cycles or whatever it is, although I think the greenhouse is a set cycle in general. But what I don't understand then is, does it produce the same amount out at the end or not? Where I think with the strawberries it was producing double per, because I had one water for 2 strawberries. When I have 2 water, does it take like 2 of the cycles to finally produce 1 head of lettuce? Where basically I was getting 2 liters of strawberry every cycle. So I guess my question is the cycle using 1 water each time, so that I was getting 2 every cycle? With tomatoes I'm getting 1 every cycle, and in essence with lettuce I'd be getting half every cycle. I think that's probably what is happening, because I just don't recall strawberries being this slow, and what I think is lettuce is going to be even slower. Because I could, in theory, probably put 2 greenhouses in the space here, so I could have 5. It's just more maintenance, but I'd put them in with auto irrigation, so it's not like I'd have to run more water, and we certainly have enough money. But yes, at this point we need 28,000 lettuce, but the hope was that over 3 levels, because basically I don't leave this level until I have all the tomatoes. So I will absolutely be immediately growing lettuce through level 13, 14, and then 15. The challenge is I have a lot of this stuff somewhat ready, or can have it ready pretty quickly. I'm going to have to harvest grapes next time, and then that'll have to process. That'll take a little bit of time, but I don't recall that it took more than 2 to 3 months to process through all the grapes. Because so I've got a couple paths I could take, and if you're using this VIP order for your gameplay, I mean, this is again the intrigue that it gets into. It's just, how do you want to proceed with things? Like, I could just go day by day and say, hey, I'm waiting for tomatoes, I'm waiting for tomatoes. Like tomorrow, obviously, assuming I can get 79,000 liters of sorghum off the fields. Now, that's the potential assumption. Like, if I have to replant sorghum because I'm short, then I've got to wait through another crop cycle, which is going to be another 5 days. But even if I have to do that, the tomatoes still aren't going to be done. We've just said it's going to be 7 or 8 days till we actually produce this. And then once again, even if this runs at half pace, basically that would be like 56,000 tomatoes is what I need here with 28,000 liters of lettuce. But going through multiple levels, I'm okay, unless I took the other path, which is I harvest the sorghum, I get it done, and then each day over the 7 or 8 days, I just keep working on things that are down here and getting ahead of things, so that when I finally get to the levels, I'm just able to very quickly go ahead and fill them. From an episode standpoint, it really doesn't change, because let's say, okay, I'm going to go plant soybeans, I'm going to get them in the ground. Like, I'm still going to show that work, whether I'm doing it before I'm done or not. It's just a difference of, am I waiting for it to go through, or am I, and then I can just turn around and very quickly do all the level 13 things. So I could, while I'm waiting for the tomatoes to grow, absolutely likely get everything for level 13 done. I think I might have all the barley I need. Now I'm a little short on barley, so I'm going to need to grow some barley. But I need 20,000 liters of barley, so I just need a couple of the small fields up top or the big field down below. That'll get me the barley. I'm already producing the honey. We'll see how much canola I get. You know, and we need raisins after we need grape juice, but we've got a couple levels in between. So what I'm struggling with, so I'm going to go ahead and do this, because I'm going to be done here at this point for this episode for sure. In reality, in real life now, what's happening is when this episode airs, I still will have not been back to continue to move forward. So we're going to have some time here where I can take feedback on how you want me to proceed here. So I'm going to ask for feedback and, you know, drop things down in the comments below, and basically what I get as the driver is what I'll do. So you've got two choices. You've got the choice of, instead of me just fast forwarding until I have 47,000 liters of tomatoes, however many months that's going to be, and obviously I would stop at some point to also pull the canola off. So there would be one day here that I would stop anyway and do canola. But other than that, I'd probably fast forward through 6 or 7 months and then just say, hey, the tomatoes are done. And then we would start worrying about what we have here, which is then going to, you know, take a little bit. It'll be occurring later on in the game, but the episodes don't change, because when I work the soybeans, you're going to see me work the soybeans. It's just when they fall. And so then, you know, I'd be harvesting grapes at some point after I take care of the tomatoes. We'd be waiting for the grape juice to complete, waiting for the soybeans to grow, and I think those would work together just fine. And so we'd proceed a lot similar to what we have. The other alternative we have, so this is your other choice, is I instead will be doing something every day as I wait for the tomatoes, and I'll just keep working further and further ahead into the schedule. So once again, it doesn't increase the number of episodes, it doesn't really change anything. It just means that when we're finally through level 12, we're likely going to be able to blow through 13 and 14 like immediately. We're just going to have deliveries, because my hope is I'm going to have at least 208,000 canola. If all works well, I'll also have the 69,000 canola. Now at that point, I won't have lettuce because I won't have even started producing. So we're absolutely, no matter what in that scenario, going to get hung up here waiting for lettuce and be sitting here at level 15 waiting for that. And then maybe that becomes where I go forward. And then, you know, I'm still going to have to get raisins and all of that, because I don't think I have enough to do both of this off one harvest. But once again, what I'd be doing is I'm going to harvest everything. I'm going to put it all to grape juice to begin with, since there's a separation and they're not due together like they were before. And then once I have 9,000 liters of grape juice, I'm going to change the grape processing unit to be 100% raisins. And we'll see, you know, where we end up there. But what will likely happen if we go with the second route is I'm going to get the soybeans done. I'm going to have the grape juice done ahead of time. For here, I'm almost certainly going to have the furniture done. I've still got all this to produce. I don't know if we've got the full 6,000 sitting outside the building, but we likely do, because I haven't done furniture in a while. So I'll likely have that done. You know, I'm going to get the chickens going. I'm going to get them some feed, and so they're going to start producing these 22,000 liters of eggs. So if I don't just simply fast forward to get through level 12 and then just methodically work through every level, it'd be unlikely, but other than the lettuce, I might have everything done through level 15 by the time we get done here, as far as ready to go. So I may have made it extremely confusing in asking what I want. So basically, trying to make the choices simpler. Do I move forward a day at a time and get as far ahead into the other levels as I can by doing that, by basically gaining 6 or 7 months of work that I can do other things on? And it would basically be, waiting for the eggs to go, and once I harvest the sorghum, I'm likely going to feed the chickens anyway, and that'll be happening. But it would be more, once I pull the sorghum off, I'm going to get some soybeans in the ground. I'm going to harvest the grape juice, the grapes, and get the grape juice moving. At some point, then canola gets harvested, and we see where we're at. And then we're either, replanting a mixture of canola and whatever. So we're making progress, and we're doing something every day to hit something on this list, whatever we can. And if we have to jump from level 13 to work on something in level 15, because I can obviously get cheese producing. I haven't put milk into my dairy to do that yet and start that. Or do I harvest sorghum tomorrow and then fast forward through tomatoes and then just work through the levels the way we have? Those are the two choices. Do I stage a bunch of work in the beginning by not fast forwarding through to tomato completion, or do I take every day I can and just produce a bunch of things that are just going to be sitting around waiting until I'm at the level where giving them to the VIPs will move me ahead? Because if I deliver 32,000 soybeans to Moondogs now, I'm not going to get any credit here because we're not fulfilling level 13 orders. The VIP order manager doesn't work that way. I have to complete level 12, and then I have to complete 13, then 14, and whatever. So if I haven't confused the heck out of you, that's what I'm looking for. And so I can get feedback in this episode, and then when I'm back, I'm going to have that week to then make the next episode, and that will determine then what I do when I'm harvesting the sorghum. Am I harvesting the sorghum and zipping forward, or am I harvesting the sorghum and just moving to the next day, or starting to do stuff that day to go down the list? If I can get a poll in, I'll try to explain it in the poll a little bit better, but hopefully I'll get more than 1 or 2 people answering. I'd love to see 5-10 people responding here, but sadly I think we don't have enough people on the channel yet to really get extremely active participation. I know last time in the thumbnail I specifically said, hey, I need input, and I think I got 1 person to respond. So unfortunately the channel's not at the size yet that we can have some really active involvement. If we want to get to that point, however, it's a good segue to the last point as I close out here. If we want to get to that point, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. You're going to get notified. You can then obviously continue to comment. The way to get more viewers and more people who could subscribe would be to like videos and get them out in front of more people, because if YouTube sees that videos have a lot of likes, it's going to recommend them to more people, and then by the very nature, hopefully we'll find people that are interested in following along with something like this. So please like the video if you have not, and please, if you have not already done so, and also subscribe if you have not already done so. So that is where we are at, and I will see you next time.